Welcome to the Musicians Creating Prosperity podcast. I'm Dr. Fabiana, and in today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, branding yourself under the umbrella framework. Why the Musicians Profit umbrella can be an incredible process to help you simplify your messaging and also share in a clear and succinct way what sets you apart. Let's dive in. In today's episode, I want to talk about how you can see the overarching brand that you need to communicate for your audience. And when I talk about the umbrella framework, this has become part of my secret sauce, if you will, my framework that has allowed me to really shape not only my own brand, but also help so many musicians simplify their brand and why this is important. The idea, and I have many more episodes talking about this, but for today, I want to go deeper into why you want to simplify your brand in a way that explains very clearly the problem that you solve, doesn't necessarily confine you and limit you to one type of client. If you've been studying at all branding and marketing and messaging, sometimes we get recommended this idea of niche marketing, right? You want to niche down, find your ideal client and be very, very specific. And although that's a really good strategy, and I agree, there's also the idea of getting out of that niche and looking at the problem that you want to solve, not so much the client you want to solve it for. Meaning, if you want to create, let's say, a musical program that helps people overcome memory lapses on stage, that helps people learn how to not freeze on stage if they forget the music they were playing. In reality, the problem is what you're offering a solution for. You're not necessarily focusing on pianists or guitarists or singers or anyone else. You're focusing on the problem that you want to solve. Same thing if you are teaching a specific instrument. If you teach piano or cello or guitar, what if instead of thinking that you're going to solve one specific problem through teaching piano or guitar, you actually create a deeper sense of connection through community? For example, if you have an online program that allows multiple students to interact with each other, now your music program is not only helping them learn music, specific instrument, but also build community. And therefore, your overarching brand umbrella can be about building relationships through music and not limiting it only to your local piano students, right? But instead, you're focusing on the solution of finding connection and building relationships through learning music together. So I want to encourage so many of you that I speak to on a regular basis, my listeners, my followers, the people in my general community who ask me, hey, Fabiana, how could I create this umbrella framework that you talk so much about? And yet I have so many pockets of people that I work with, right? I have young kids, I have adults, I have professional musicians, I have amateur musicians that I teach. Like, how do you actually go about encompassing them all under an umbrella? And I wanted to shine a light on that a little bit more today because I keep getting asked those questions. And I think it's really exciting because when you think about, okay, even if you work with different populations, different types of clients, seemingly not related with their problems, meaning having different problems that you solve, if you can take a step back and look at what are the common themes that you cover in the work that you do with these clients. One of the clients that I work with, she plays the piano in a musical theater production, but then she also teaches piano. And then she also accompanies and does all these different things. And to the core of what she was doing, it was all about just building better relationships on stage and collaborations. And so her umbrella brand was really about collaboration and building relationships on stage and learning how to play with each other and not just be soloists, right? And do everything as lone wolf. And so I want to encourage you, if you've been struggling to find that overarching message for the work that you do, and you've been excited about this idea of building your brand umbrella and maybe stuck with this notion of, but how do I, zoom out and see that higher unifying theme across everything I'm doing? This is going to be hopefully very helpful for you. And of course, there's always nuance to this and elements of personalization. And if at any point you're just like, well, I don't see it, I still can't see it, Fabiana, I'm 30,000 foot high and I still don't know how to see it. Of course, you could reach out, we can connect. And of course, we could give you some initial pointers. That's something that we'd be happy to do. There's probably a link here in the show notes where you can book a call and reach out. At any point, you could always do that. But for the purposes of what I'm sharing with you in this episode, I want to encourage you to zoom out and to think a lot more strategically about what do you do right now? And why is this helpful for people, even if you do it in multiple ways? Another example is someone I spoke to who is actually in the dental industry. She's not professionally working in music, although she is a musician. And believe it or not, her mantra was that she helps people smile. She helps people find ways to feel more confident in their smile and find joy, embrace happiness in dentistry. But at the same time, the work that she was building through music and sharing her artistry and impact with people around her. So in a way, even though she was transitioning really from two seemingly unrelated industries, her overarching goal and mission and what motivated her was to help people smile. Isn't that cool? And to give people joy, to give people the new sense of happiness and belonging and meaning. And so whether she did that in her side in the dentistry, that she was working in the dental industry, or in her side within music, at the end of the day, she was still helping people find joy and happiness. Those are some examples. I've got so many more, right, that I could share. But I wanted just to get you to start elevating your thinking. Because again, when you're thinking about how could I make my content more streamlined, more simple, more unified, I do this and I do this and I do this. Can you look at what are those common denominators? What are those common problems that you solve, even if you do them in different ways? Is there a unifying theme that encompasses everything you do and that can be easily explained to others when you meet someone in an airplane or at a coffee shop, or someone asks you, hey, what do you do? How do you do this? That will hopefully be an easier way for you to explain this that doesn't make it overwhelming. I hope this helps. And again, if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. It would be my pleasure or my team's pleasure to support you in helping you get some initial pointers. But remember, less is more. Simplicity scales, complexity fails. If you're trying to explain what you do in 10 different ways for 10 different clients, solving 10 different problems, chances are that's why you're stuck. Unity is power. I hope this helps. Until next time, let's prosper together.